If you asked me what Gunman Clive was a year ago, I would have been speechless. I was late to the Gunman Clive hype party, and only 5 months ago did I finish the game. While the game was short, I loved every second of it, and that was my only gripe with the game at the time, its length. But now a sequel, appropriately called Gunman Clive 2, has emerged from Horberg Productions, but is it any good? Is it better than Gunman Clive 1? You know the answer, of course it is. Gunman Clive 2 improves the mechanics of the last game in every possible way, just like a sequel should. The controls feel tighter and the level design feels more unique and interesting. There is a lot more variety to the gameplay, such as interactive environments like buildings and stone columns collapsing as you jump on them. Then there are the segments that go outside the box of platforming, like riding a horse or flying through the air, dodging pillars of stones and bombs. This variety is nice and all, but some control issues make them more difficult to enjoy than the platforming itself. Honestly, without these sections, Gunman Clive 2 would have still been a spectacular experience. The main part of the gameplay, the platforming, is fantastic. You can pick from 3 characters at the start of the game. Gunman Clive, who is your typical platforming hero. Miss Johnson, a girl who can float in the air like Peach. Or Chieftain Bob, who does not shoot, but uses his spear as a melee weapon. And you unlock another character after you complete the game one time, but I will not spoil who this character is. Sure, Gunman Clive and Miss Johnson are great, but I found myself playing a lot as Chieftain Bob due to the challenge it provided. Without a gun, Bob has to use his spear to go up close to enemies and defeat them. But that's not to say playing as Miss Johnson or Gunman Clive is not challenging, because it can get really difficult at times, even to the point of replaying a stage 20 times just to beat it. Although the game is challenging, I never felt like I was continuously dying from cheap level design. In fact, the level design is brilliant, always teaching you that this is a game you can't rush through, and sometimes you have to take your time to get around obstacles. Without a life system, you tend to adapt to the level design, learning enemy patterns in the level you're in. Speaking of enemies, Gunman Clive 2 does not rely on its predecessor for enemy designs and patterns, but adds a bunch of new enemies including an owl, a ninja, and a sumo wrestler. This new amount of enemies is a welcome change, and how each enemy interacts with you is really clever. Plus, the new boss fights are interesting and quite difficult. A lot of thought was put into each and every boss fight in this game, and it really shows. Never did I hate facing a boss due to the challenge it provided or how tedious it may be to beat it. I was always excited to face a boss, and the moment you defeat that challenging boss, you feel a genuine sense of pride. Oh, and the game looks fantastic, especially in 3D. The visual style has changed a bit from Gunman Clive, as the textures are now darker, and for lack of a better term, slimmer. I was always a fan of Gunman Clive's unique sort of sketchbook-like art style, and I think this color palette highlights how great it is. And the character models, some just recolored from the previous game, look great. With its smooth frame rate and gorgeous textures, Gunman Clive 2 may just be one of my favorite looking games on the 3DS. And Gunman Clive 2's original soundtrack, featuring little to no reused themes from the previous title, sounds really wonderful. I can't really name a favorite song though, as every track is catchy. With its stellar presentation and more than enjoyable gameplay, Gunman Clive 2 is everything I wanted in the sequel. Sure, there really is no story, but you don't play Gunman Clive 2 and these titles for the story. You play them for the side-scrolling platforming, which is near perfect in this title. I had a lot of fun with this game, and I can see myself completing the game with all the characters again and again. I already have been playing the game for 10 hours and it has not gotten old. For $2.99 on the Nintendo eShop, this game is definitely worth your money. If it was $10, I would tell you to buy it. It's that good. This is a game I feel any person can enjoy, even if you don't necessarily like platformers. And while I'm at it, I would recommend the first title to you, as it's very inexpensive on the eShop. With both of the Gunman Clive titles, you are given hours upon hours of tight, enjoyable platforming. And if I had to give Gunman Clive 2 a score, I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. And if you agree or disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to never miss one of my newer videos. And as always, thank you so much for watching and take care. Have a wonderful day and goodbye.